Welcome back to Stand and Deliver. Still to come, your chance again. We'll give you more chances to win a holiday in the sun, our search for a karaoke star, and impassioned debate, first of all, on the 20th century's Cartesian proposition, I shop, therefore I am. Paul Fitzgerald belongs to a group called Enough. He says that we in the West are greedy, materialistic, and ultimately consumers. He says shopping is stupid. Paul Fitzgerald, you have 60 seconds to stand and deliver.
Can't buy me love.
Whoa!
Can't buy me love.
We all need to consume, but our society worships ever-increasing consumption. No matter how much we've already got, it tells us to buy some new ergonomically balanced designer-labeled product and we'll be happier, sexier and more satisfied. Garbage. Always consuming more doesn't bring quality of life. If anything, it creates a mean-minded rat race mentality in which nothing is ever enough. What's more, it's only a minority, a fifth of the world's population, who can live like this by consuming over 80% of the Earth's resources. We're already on the brink of an environmental disaster. What would happen if the impoverished majority consumed as voraciously as we do? Pollution levels would go beyond all the limits we could control. So either we say to the poor nations, we'll find an eco-friendly way of being very, very rich, and you lot can find an environmentally friendly way to be very, very poor, or we just stop buying overhyped junk that we don't need and get a life instead.
Get a life! Oh, I see Imogen and
shut up.
Claire, you're both clapping, applauding.
We're just following the audience.
Just following the audience.
Sheep. Sheep. We have no minds of our own. I would say lighten up, really. I mean,
Well, what makes you think I don't know how to lighten up? I mean, why just because I'm pointing out a series of facts would you say that?
Well, if you'd said to me that shopping was really boring, then I would have gone along with you, because there's nothing more dull than traipsing through a supermarket or going clothes shopping, I think.
Did only have 60
but if you're going to
seconds.
bore me with ecological reasons as to
I mean,
why...
this apocalyptic nonsense that the Earth's going to stop if I buy another pair of socks, I mean, is just puerile. And I was also very offended in the same way as I'm offended every time I hear that mawkish John Lennon song, Imagine No Possessions. I'm afraid I grew up in a house where we didn't have to imagine, we just had to look round the room. My dad wanted more things, not less, and I am glad to say that I have a few that I can enjoy and get pleasure from. I mean, this hippy-dippy rubbish about the world would all be better if we were poor, I can only assume you don't come from poverty, and that you didn't have to grow up without the material things that actually make life easier and better, and that I'm glad my son can take for granted.
You didn't pop out for 60 seseconds earlier, did you?
Sorry?
You didn't pop out for 60 seconds earlier and miss what I was saying.
No, I listened to exactly
I'm
what
not
you were
saying,
saying.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having an extra pair of socks. I mean, like, I think I'd be receiving psychiatric help if I was saying that.
Well,
what I'm trying to point out is that we've got a society that says whatever you've got, you want more. There's no limits to it. There's no stops to it. Now, we do live in a world where there are really serious problems. If we are taking more than our fair share...
Well, no, come along. I would suggest that if you were saying if all the world was wealthy as us, the world would be a worse place. Go and tell that to the people in the third world who want fridges, who
That's
want
exactly
cars,
what I'm
and
trying
who have
to say.
every right to desire and demand those things.
Okay,
as far as I'm concerned. To say that we should all have less, I would rather we got a world that cleanly, efficiently, can make more for all, not less for all. I'm sorry, but that's a defeatist way of seeing the future.
Okay, what I'm saying is that it's not possible for everybody to consume at the level we do. Now, everything that we buy and use up and then throw away produces a certain amount of pollution. At the moment, it's just a fifth of the world's population, right, who are consuming 80% of the Earth's resources. Now, that's not fair, right? And you need to open your eyes to that.
I'm not denying that there isn't
Let me finish. If everybody did that, then there wouldn't be a world left in which to consume. I mean, I'm not actually against the idea of the type of civilization we have. I'm not talking about sort of environmental issues being to do with these double-jointed rare species of frog in the Amazon. I'm saying that if we destroy the biosphere, then the first thing that's going to go down the pan is this kind of civilization.
But do you really think that the thing that's most gravitating the Earth towards some kind of apocalyptic notion, which I don't believe, I mean, men have been predicting the end of the earth for as long as men have been predicting. And it's always to do with something we're doing wrong, some evil in our souls. I mean, A, I don't believe that for a single moment. But B,
Do either of you want to ask any questions
think...
at all?
No, all right,
I'll
listen,
stand
you
down.
are-
Excuse him.
between the two of you, you've got really serious, and it's a serious question.
I know.
But you're talking about world resources. I'm more interested in the other part of your statement, which is that we do it. It's our drug. Consuming is our drug. Do you all go out there and buy things, and you feel? Does it make you feel better or not?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we want now. Okay,
Lovely.
right. It makes this lady feel better. Yes. Is she sick?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't want to turn around to anybody and have a go at them as an individual because this is a big problem.
No,
But
this is
what-
stand and deliver. We're here for it. Have a go.
Okay. Well, no,
Sure.
I'm not going to have a go at any one individual.
All right.
What I'd say is that over the last 40 years, right, all the statistics show that the amount we consume has doubled. Yeah, but the actual the polls that have been done don't show any increase in people's reported happiness. Nobody's
No one
actually
asked me.
enjoying.
No, but I mean, I do.
Nobody's
How are you
actually
going to stop
enjoying
this
life
lady
more.
here? How are you going to stop her?
I'm with him.
She has fun buying clothes, don't you?
Yeah.
And shoes. Do you like Claire's shoes over there? The
Yeah,
green
they're
one?
great.
Great
I
shoes,
love
Claire.
them.
Fantastic shoes. How do you stop her? How do you get rid of that pleasure which people
Well,
are more
I'd
and
say
more
where would you
taking?
draw the line? Where would you stop and say, okay, that's enough shoes? Yeah, there are other sides to life other than shoes. There
Is
is
it actually our fault, or should you be aiming this argument at the advertisers?
exactly. I mean, we're bombarded
But
by
you're aiming at
3,000
us.
advertising. No,
Yeah,
no,
but
I'm
you
not.
can't-
I
No,
said
no,
I'm
he's,
not having
he's
a
feeling
go at
sorry.
you.
He's feeling sorry for all of us and saying we should get rid of
It's
advertising.
nothing to do with advertisers. I mean, I go out and buy clothes because of my means of expression. That's what makes me look different to Joe Bloggs. I go out and I combine.
No, but you're
and-
told. You're told. You're
No,
told.
I'm not
The,
told.
the lady there, you're subconsciously, you've had your hand up from the very beginning. Please,
I
ma'am.
just wanted to say that I agree with the lady here who is saying that it is the fault of the advertising industry because their sole function is to create needs rather than to create wants rather than to serve needs, and that's how we've got into this situation.
Come on, mythical desires. The gentleman there with the internet T-shirt. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of thing that, like, if you look at something like McDonald's, what they're actively trying to do is try to stop us making our own food. They're trying to give us this junk of food that we don't really need. It tastes like shit. We don't want it.
Sorry, we got. All right,
It's like-
this isn't our Max any good.
You
or a
know,
Burger
it's the same
King
sort of
better.
thing. Like, what's happening? What happened to the Ethiopian famine? I mean, we were talking about resources earlier. Ethiopia was exporting food to our country so we could have turkeys for Christmas while they were starving. That's the whole debate we're having here.
Fine,
and
but
it's the
look,
advertisers are trying to make us
Hold
carry
up,
on
I've
living
been to
like
Ethiopia.
this.
That's the most
He
banal
works a
summation
face.
ever of the
He
Ethiopian
works-
famine. I'm sorry.
Oh, forget his name. I mean, I don't know. He sort of like puts himself up as some sort of like media star. And he's sort of like trying to tell us, you know, you've had arguments before other programmes, I've seen them earlier, sort of like, you know, my nice suit, my nice trendy shoes or what have you. There's more to life than all this. I mean, we should...
Of course
Yes, but
there are, and I like those
unfortunately,
things too.
I know there is. But how do we avoid? The question is the pleasure we take in consuming, the pleasure you take in wearing that T-shirt, I take in wearing this 11-year-old bloody jacket, we do take a pleasure. Is it a false pleasure? That's the question. And have we got to destroy that and become new ascetic
So
individuals?
there's a
Tony,
transitory pleasure,
the
isn't it?
whole thing about being aesthetic is not the point I'm making. I agree that a kind of a hair shirt anti-fun morality is no use to anybody, but that's different from consuming in a responsible way. And I think the guy in the shirt is actually right about the Ethiopian famine, and I don't believe you know your facts.
Well,
It
I've
was-
been there. Come along, and I've in fact written lots about it. So
Yes,
I do,
and
and
there
you're wrong.
was food being
And
exported out of Ethiopia.
there was, of
to
course, there
benefit-
was.
Ladies
That
and
wasn't the
gentlemen,
core
we're going to
cause
come
of the
back in
Ethiopian
3
famine.
weeks' time at the end of the series with a debate on the Ethiopian famine. You can discuss that then. I have to say thank you very, very much from Enough.
It's called the Ethiopian famine.
Leave the shoes out of it. Paul Fitzgerald, thank you very, very much, sir. The question remaining, of course, is, there are two questions remaining. The one question is, can the two-limbed frogs from the Brazilian jungle lap dance? And two, can you vote for our karaoke winners?
my senses, like a night in a forest, like the mountain in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a star in the desert, like a sleepy blue old. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come let me love you, let me give my life to you, let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms.
Okay. We like those two, we like those two. Now, we've had lap dancing, we've touched on the Ethiopian famine, now we get onto the terraces. Dougie Brimston is a retired football hooligan. He says soccer has been downright spoiled by the crackdown on violence. Saturday afternoons just aren't the same without a good fight. Dougie Brimston, this is controversial. 1 minute to stand and deliver.
He's football crazy, football mad.
The current boom in nostalgia for 70s and 80s football has missed one essential point. For many people who watched the game back then, the added ingredient of the event was the threat of hooliganism. As someone who used to indulge in violence at games, I make no apologies for the fact that I derived a great deal of enjoyment from it, and look back on that period as providing some of the most enjoyable days of my life. The atmosphere at almost every game was electric because it contained that threat of aggression. These days, football as an event is almost bland by comparison. Whilst I applaud the removal of violence from stadia, along with it has gone much of the passion essential for the generation of atmosphere. The Premier League clubs